Hey everyone, this is Toni and Jess, and today we're going to talk about the Power and Purpose Lunch. And this was hosted by Tasha Hickey, who has an organization called Purpose for Perfect. And it is an organization that she created on the Perfect for Purpose, excuse me. Can you edit that? Perfect for, it's like a tongue tie.
Yes.
Perfect for Purpose. So it's an organization that she created when she was going through a lot of things dealing with a mental illness mother, and dealing with having to be a mother to her siblings, going to college, defying the odds, being the odds, and, dealing with a lot and knowing that there's purpose in your pain. There is purpose for everyone. And so she created this organization, and she started this, the Power and Purpose Lunch, where she had wonderful Black women who had different, businesses, or if they didn't have businesses, they had a testimony where they have a voice, and a voice that is power and is so purposeful. So we have people that were in the panel were like Tasha, who was the host, and we had Toni Geddes, who is Tasha Hickey's mother, and who was in the military. We had Khadijah Jones, who has her own business with breastfeeding. We have Sierra Kemp, who has her own business with oil. And she had her testimony very powerful, but I'll go through each one of them. I'm just naming them right now. We have Jaleesa Ray, who is Tasha Hickey's blind sister, and also who is an author, and she has a book out. We have Brianne Stewart, and she is a minister, and her story was powerful as well. And we have, the last but not least, we have Aisha Nicole. So what we're going to talk about is how we felt about the Power and Purpose Lunch, how it moved us, or if it did not move us, and what we felt like we thought was important for you all to listen and to get from it. So, Jess, are you ready?
I am ready.
So here's the panelists for the Power and Purpose Lunch. First, we have the host, Tasha Hickey. We have Toni Geddes, Khadijah Jones, Sierra Kemp, Jaleesa Ray, Brianne Stewart, and Aisha Nicole. So, Jess, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, so these women, I was so happy to see them because I didn't know them, but I was like, these women came here to deliver a message of purpose and what they do. And when they started telling their stories, I was like, wow, these women definitely have gone through a lot. And one of the ladies, I forgot her name, but she was the one that said, yeah, I had a miscarriage and I was going through so much at the time. What's her name?
Brianne Stewart.
Right, Brianne Stewart. She was like the main lady that made me cry, actually, because when I heard her story about how she was going through depression and she already had kids, but she was not mentally stable, and she had to figure out ways to actually come out of that. And she said God kept her. He did. He was testing her throughout that whole period. And now her baby is finally here. She's 6 months and healthy. It's amazing how her story changed her purpose so that she knows that her purpose is for her and it's not anything but that. It's her purpose to be herself, to know that she has a place in God and he finds favor in what she's doing. And it was just amazing, honestly. What do you think, Toni?
Yes, her name was Brianna Stewart, and I really felt like, it was good that she shared, because it's the fact that she was already a grown adult. Like, we young adults, we put like a stigma on people that already know the Lord. Like, nothing really terrible can really happen to them. I mean, if it does, like, that's God's favorite. It can, it's not going to be that serious. But to know that she was in a broken, mindset, and to know that she was lost and it really affected her when she had this miscarriage, it really like took a toll on the negative side, where she also had children before and a husband, but she was just like burying herself. And the fact that she realized that she wants to hear from God, so she did not move. She would pray every single day, wouldn't, get her nails done and do the things that she used to do because she wanted to hear from God. And she was saying how, if you want to hear from God, there's certain things you need to do. And sometimes he wants you to just get on your knees and just be in silence.
Right.
And just be in complete silence. Like, if you're struggling out there and you feel like God's not listening to you, it's probably because you're not really giving him enough attention. And that is something that I got from it, because I felt sometimes where it's hard for me to hear from God, because I feel like, sometimes, why are you listening? Are you listening to my cries? Are you listening to, the things that have been happening to me? But it's because, sometimes you need to just be in your room, praise and worship, and, just acknowledging him. So it was really powerful to hear the fact that, she really just went through something so terrible to finally get what she really wanted, and now with a child who's actually healthy and whatnot. So, and she like really fought back against the devils, and how the devil, she could have been a terrible person, right? She could have just like turned against God, but and didn't want to go hard for God, So that was very moving.
Right.
Yes. So all the panelists had like this wonderful story, and if they didn't have a story, they had something with them that was just like wonderful. And one that I wanted to talk about was the lady. Her name is Sarah. No, not Sarah. Her name is Aisha Nicole. Now, Aisha Nicole is in her 40s, and she was sharing how she was married over 20 years to a sweetheart, high school sweetheart, and, they had kids, and the kids were like, some kids are around like 17 or 18, and how she, one day, like, she just did not return home. And so how that took her and broke her, because she lived in a life, but she was always sheltered. And not sheltered in a terrible way, but sheltered in a good way, in a sense where, like, she didn't have to go to college because she knew her husband got it. She didn't, she had parents who were pastors. So she was sheltered. They had good money. She was not struggling. She was like, I didn't have a terrible story, like most other parents. I had one until where my husband did not come home, and that took a really hard toll on her. And I felt like, that is something that people don't really talk about, is the fact that, it don't matter what age you are, what for God is, when God is going to come up to you and like change your life. And that's why I felt like the power and the purpose lunch was just so powerful, because it's just like, when you never know what anybody's going through. And just to see her, like, love is really, like, serious. Like, if you haven't been in love, you don't know how love is. and what they can do, but it's like it's very strong. That's right. In the Bible, it tells you putting the time to guard your heart. And um, I'm looking for one of her quotes that she shared, but she was just really like pouring some very great knowledge to these wonderful women, and the knowledge was just basically like, you know what, you never know, she's waiting for her next, and she knew, like, there was people telling her that, you know, he wasn't right. For her to be with somebody who wasn't, it wasn't a great relationship for 20 years, and for God to finally stop it and put a stop to that, that is very, you know, that's like a pause in how she felt like, you know, she used to be such a confident woman until one day, like, she was in her room just very depressed, and she wouldn't take a shower and whatnot. And she has also a book, and she said that in her book she talks about how she wasn't, you know, taking a shower. She was very depressed, and then she had to realize, like, she had to put the words I am beautiful, I am powerful, I am smart, and that is what helped her motivate her to be whoever she wanted to try to be, and that's an author, a mother, you know, a businesswoman, you know. So I felt like the word I am is something that, you know, we should use on a daily, because words are powerful. We trick our minds every day when we put ourselves down. And those things we start to believe, and those things we start to show in our actions. So anytime you're feeling down and you feel like you're not pretty, you know, look yourself in the mirror and say, I am beautiful. I am gorgeous. I am. If you wanna be something in your life, you know, you have a dream, like the word purpose, which is very powerful in this lunch, you have a purpose. God created you. If you're alive and breathing, there's a purpose for you doing that right now. So it's very good, and for you to use those words and not trick your mind, but for you to know that you need to start thinking this way so you can start living that way.
Yes, that's amen to that, honestly. I agree because honestly, when I was hearing them speak about how they had to change their mindset and how that really was what made them switch their life around, that's when I said, you know what? That's all it takes. And as hard as it may be, when you switch your mindset to say, I am great, I am amazing, I am beautiful, I am worth it, it makes you feel so much better than saying, oh no, I don't know if I can do this. Don't put any doubt to it. Change your mind and say
Mhm.
you can do it. And when it comes to mental health, especially since May is Mental Health Awareness Month,
Yes.
we have to really reevaluate our standards of living, of our thinking and our beliefs, because we've been in a society that's tried to program us, especially minorities, to think less of themselves, to be less of a human being, you know? That's not right.
Mhm. Exactly.
It
Mhm.
was so powerful. And you remember when the Living Life Naked lady, Live Life Naked, she is a
Sierra.
prophetess. Yes.
Mhm.
She was the lady that came out and showed out. She really knew what a lady in the crowd, she got her up from her seat because she said, you stand up. Why are you here? And I didn't know what was going on until I looked at her face, Sierra, right?
Mhm.
And I looked at her face and she was serious as can be. She knew what she was doing. She had no doubt in her mind that this lady needed some help. And when I tell you, when she got up, the lady that she saw from the crowd, she saw her, she spoke to her, and the lady from the audience started crying. And man, I could feel that emotion. It was so strong. I myself, I had tears in my eyes. And I'm like, wow, this is so moving. I'm so glad I went to the Power and Purpose lunch. It was so powerful. I
And
gotta
as
tell you, it was.
hmm and as me and you just started to be in the 20s, like we're only sophomores in college,
Mhm.
and for us to be around women who has a little bit more experience than us, and to be young, to be fed by wonderful Black women, because we put a lot of stigma, negative connotation on Black women because of the fact that, angry Black women, or like we can't get nothing from a Black woman. But when you're in the room, especially the Power and Purpose lunch room, and that, well, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like it felt like a Sunday night where they're just like, this is what you're probably not going to really hear in church, but I'm going to give it
Mhm.
to you. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And to be young and to sit in that room and to be around people that are going to treat you like you should be treated and
Mhm.
give you all the things that you need, so you won't be feeling like you're wrong for feeling this way, you're wrong for living your life, because they're not perfect. And that's the thing that they try um, to pour out. It's the fact that we're striving to be like God. You know what I mean? We're going
Mhm.
to miss because we're only human, but we're striving to be like God. And one thing that you brought up from Brianne Stewart, who was the minister and who had a miscarriage, she said this plenty of times. She said, "Get comfortable with being uncomfortable," and that is that is just, you don't even have to explain that. Like, that is just strong. Like, I had to write it down. When I say at, like, places, I need to write things down so I can, move forward and whatnot and reflect and look at that, because I'm a cool person. I like words. So,
Mhm.
and when she was saying get comfortable with being uncomfortable, I was like, dang, y'all are speaking through her so she could speak to me. And to other people that, are holding themselves back because they don't want to feel uncomfortable. They don't want to feel like, like they don't want to feel that uncomfortableness. They're going to live through other people's eyes, like Tasha Hickey. Like, I know for a fact that, she's been put in times where she felt uncomfortable, but she had to get comfortable with that and had to stop listening to what other people think and whatnot and be who she wants to be. And that, looking at her now, is just wonderful to see that.
Right. Yes. Honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was so glad to just be there because I knew I would get something out of it. And when I was there, like, let me just tell you, first of all, the presentation, the whole event, like, when I walked in, I was greeted by Tasha. She was like, hey, Toni is over there, and, you know, you can sit anywhere you want. And I was looking at all the color, the black and pink and the gold balloons, and I'm like, oh, this is a real celebration, you know? I
Mm-hmm.
felt like I was in a good space, and everybody was just doing their own purpose, whether it was sitting down or talking, it was just real. It wasn't anything fake about it. And I really truly honor when a space is like that. And I can tell you right now, when I sat down and I got this card that has the Perfect for Purpose icon, it says, Dear
Mm-hmm.
Perfect for Purpose participant, stay encouraged, stay aware, be true to you, commit to do the work, love yourself unconditionally. You are beautiful. That is all it takes. That's all it takes to change your mindset and be in your purpose. Honestly, those words of encouragement really make you think about yourself and how you can change your life and live in a purpose of helping people or teaching or ministering or trying to just live a life that's well lived.
Right.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. that, like, just, you know how, like, you can tell you're, like, a visual in it, because, like, or, you know, being there, because you were just explaining, like, yes, they had balloons, they had, like, everyone that participated at the event had it, like, were linked, and they were like, purposely picked, like, the caterer. She has her own example, her own organization,
Mm.
and food organization, and like the food was perfect. The taste was wonderful. Everybody was kind. They were all, you know, you could tell that there was joy, and there was no negativity was left at the door, and it was just women that were trying to, you know, better their life mentally. And like we said, you know, it's mental health awareness month, and they spoke about that too, and how like there's a big stigma between Christians and this world where like you shouldn't take care of yourself. You should like just be all with God. But one thing importantly is that when you're feeling down, depression, yeah, you shouldn't be like, you know, always medicine is not probably always the choice. But at the end of the day, there are people that need that, and there are people that need to take a break, self-reflect, and get yourself figure out what you need to do for self-care. And my Tasha Hickey is also my sister, so sometimes I might say my sister, but like she spoke about how like, you know, she don't like to say she's a Christian because, you know, Christians have this like it's like a religion, you know, and some people who are, you know, a believer in Christ, a follower of Christ, you know, they don't do things traditionally. They just pray. They just, you know, they do everything that you're supposed to do, but like it's just the fact that you have to have a relationship with your Father, you know what I mean? And that's what she wanted to push, like stop putting a signal. Like if I see a girl wearing short dress, I'm not going to like discredit her or make her feel down because she's wearing this dress. She's my sister, and I'm going to talk to her because there's nothing wrong. I mean, that's how she wants to dress. That's how she wants to dress. I'm not the judge. I'm not God. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I thought that was very important too because Black women, there's always this idea that Black women should, you know, we have to like compete, or women in general, that we have to compete. And they like let that at the panel, they let them know that, you know what, you don't have to compete. You know what I mean? She's doing her thing. I'd rather her be doing her thing than somebody else. You know what I mean? Especially Black women. So that was important as well. You know, just being in a room where you don't have to feel judged. You
Yes.
just feel like, you know,
You could be yourself.
you can be yourself. Amen.
Yes. That's honestly, if you know that when women come together, especially Black women, Black women coming together is a powerful force. Black girl magic is real. I'm serious. Why do you think BET was like the main promoter of Black girl magic? Because they knew that they know that there's power behind Black women coming together, not fighting, not being jealous, not envying other people. When that's a force. It's a force, honestly.
Yeah, like honestly, like we live in a world where like Black women are seen like we will talk about it in our next, you know, video. But like I know for experience, if you go to as a young adult in my 20s, like, and I see, you know, how Black women are portrayed for Black men and for white men, you know, how we are put in this like uncomfortable space to be a Black woman because we are a threat, I guess, in society's way. But that's because we have a voice. We have this magic when you approach a Black woman, you see power and you see this force that you're just like, whoa, like, wow. So I want to like, I don't know, she has this power that makes like, we have enough lifting power. We have so many things that we are, you know, that we are wonderful in. And to see a panel of, I felt chills every time they spoke because it was just like, there was no jealousy in the room. It was always somebody lifting up another sister. And that is something that I felt like they showed and they represented well, and for us to do the same. You know, when you see a sister down or you see a sister doing your thing, support them. Tasha Hickey, she's always one of the panelists. Ooh, excuse me, if you can hear me. One of the panelists, Sierra, she has an organization that's called Live Life Naked. And me and Tasha and some other sisters drove up to Philly. We reside in Baltimore. We drove all the way up to Philly to go and support her and to get some knowledge out of her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like that is an example of what we should be doing. If your friend has a business, and she's not even your friend, it's somebody that, you know, has a business, support them. Black people need to support their businesses. You know what I mean? That's one thing that we kind of need. It's a challenge for us that we need to do. You know, I sell jewelry, and I've had people who supported me and some people who watched and that I thought they were going to support me. But, you know, you need to check yourself, and you need to do what you can also. It's like if you want somebody to support you, you need to support them too.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that's what you got here. Like, the sisters were buying each. There was vendors there. Oh, my gosh. I don't know how we missed that. There was vendors there. You know, vendors that were helping, that were powerful. You know, there was one vendor there. Jess, you remember the name?
Yes, the name. I have the card because they had a bunch of information. Like if they were selling shea butter, one was selling shea butter, and the one that we looked at was Unashamed Apparel, and she was having shirts on display that we could purchase.
Yes, and to know that she was supporting us too by telling us, you know, some knowledge that we need to know when we do our podcast. And so that was powerful too. Like, there were vendors there that were wonderful, that knew price, and they were all women. You know what I mean? So it was like a women's conference.
Yes.
Because it was just like, you got something. If you got the simplest thing of the fact that, you know what, I need to support a sister, that is something powerful. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So I have nothing but good things to say about the Power and Purpose lunch. Nothing but wonderful things, because I felt like they were they were so wonderful, and they even opened questions for the audience to ask about things that they may be dealing with. And one thing that we were talking about is that, you know, one thing they were talking about is comparison is the worst action against self, and I thought that was important. So I wrote that down, because it's like, even though you may see somebody, you know, who you thought was on the same level as you, and from what you see on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, you see them, you know, doing good, whether it's, you know, with their business or whatnot. You should not compare yourself to them, because that is the worst thing. While you're comparing yourself to them, you're putting yourself down. You should never do that. You should never compare yourself to your sister. You should be wondering, you should be taking a look at yourself and trying to fix whatever you gotta do, because at the end of the day, when your moment comes, your moment comes. No one can stop you. You know what I mean? No one can stop you, because when God says yes, that's a yes, regardless of how you feel. When God says yes, I know that they were talking about, like, you know, when God gives you something, like, He's expecting you to catch it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, if He wants you to be something in life, you know, He has another thing that He wants you to do in this lifetime, you need to catch it.
Yeah. You don't want to be one of those people that wait until the last minute or miss their calling at something because, there's many people who will say they regret not taking an opportunity or waiting at the end of their life and saying, I wish I did this, and instead
Right,
of partying and being a typical teenager or typical adult, that's the stuff that counts.
right. And so on the lines of comparison is the worst action against self. They also said the outlook does not determine the outcome. That is
Mm,
powerful.
yeah.
So, like you said, when you're comparing yourself to somebody, bringing yourself down just because you feel like, what you're looking at, it seems like you're not anywhere. Don't, the outlook does not determine the outcome. God makes a great thing, okay? Like,
Mhm.
he's a great God, so he can do anything.
Yes, that's right. So, with that being said, we hope you guys enjoy this podcast, and we really hope you like, subscribe, dislike, give us feedback. And yes, that's Toni and Jess for today.
And don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Toni and Jess.
Yeah.
And, we give us some comments. We want to know your feedback.
Yes, we do. We want to see you guys compassionately showing or telling your stories, experiences of things that we talked about or what may be off topic, whatever we can do to help and support you in your journey so you guys can be more woke in this world that we live in. And that's pretty
Yeah.
much it.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
See ya.
Hey, everyone.